Imagine waiting more than 10 years for this moment. You're willing to arrive at 3 p.m., stand in line for hours, just to make sure you're in the front row. Then, a few hours before the show starts, the sky suddenly turns dark. Lightning strikes. Rain pours down mercilessly. Organizers are forced to pause the event temporarily for safety reasons. But instead of dispersing, thousands of armies in Toronto stayed exactly where they were, soaked to the bone. But their eyes stayed fixed on the stage, full of hope. And when the stage lights finally came back on, the figure they had been longing for still appeared. Jimin, together with the 6 other BTS members, standing in the middle of the downpour, as if it didn't matter how wet their clothes got, how slippery the stage floor was, or how much risk they were taking on. This is what makes the moment at Rogers Stadium, Toronto, this past weekend so special. It's not just a concert. It's real proof of a relationship built over years between 7 men and millions of people who call themselves ARMY. If you're curious what really happened that night, why this moment touched so many hearts, and why this isn't the first time Jimin has done something like this, watch this video until the end. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you don't miss the latest updates about BTS and their world comeback after military service. For those who don't know the context yet, let's rewind a bit. This past weekend, BTS held 2 nights of concerts at Rogers Stadium, Toronto, as part of their massive Arirang World Tour. The world tour they began after all members completed their mandatory military service. This isn't just any concert. It's the first time BTS has performed in Toronto in over a decade, and tickets sold out in no time. Since the afternoon, thousands of fans had already packed the area around the stadium. Many traveled from out of town, even from other states, just for this moment. Some wore merchandise from the swim era, some carried banners with their favorite member's name, and quite a few had been ARMY since their teenage years, now arriving as adults finally able to fulfill their dream of seeing BTS live. This wave of euphoria felt even more emotional because so many of them had been waiting since BTS announced their hiatus for military service years ago. The full comeback of all 7 members, RM, Jin, Suga, Jhope, Jimin, V, and Jungkook, became a symbol of a long wait finally paying off. But, as often happens with outdoor entertainment, the weather had other plans. A few hours before the concert began, local weather authorities issued a special statement for Toronto and the surrounding area. Thunderstorms were reported moving across the Golden Horseshoe region, bringing heavy rain and the potential for strong winds. Local Canadian media even reported that the concert experienced a temporary delay due to the bad weather. You can imagine how panicked the event organizers must have been. Thousands of people were already gathered in an open-air venue. There was a real safety risk from lightning, standing water around the stage, and the possibility of electronic equipment being affected by the rain. This isn't a situation to take lightly. Many other outdoor concerts have been fully canceled under similar conditions. But here's where things were different. Instead of dispersing the crowd and canceling the show outright, the production team and BTS themselves kept trying to move forward with the performance once conditions allowed, even though the rain hadn't fully let up. Local media reported on this long wait, with some even noting that Toronto's summer weather forecasts this year have been notoriously unpredictable. Sometimes rain is forecast and never comes, and sometimes it truly pours, just like that night. Fans who had been waiting since the afternoon didn't budge. They made do with makeshift rain gear, plastic ponchos, some relying on nothing more than a jacket hood. All for one thing: to see BTS perform right in front of their own eyes. If you've been following BTS's journey for a while, you probably immediately thought of another iconic moment: their first comeback concert in Goyang, South Korea, earlier this year, right after all members finished their military service. Back then, heavy rain also poured down on the venue without mercy. The stage was soaked, the microphones were at risk of damage, and conditions were clearly far from ideal for performing. Yet the members kept the show going. Jimin, who was drenched from head to toe at the time, kept smiling and joking with the crowd, saying he was soaked all the way through his clothes. But what mattered most to him was finally being able to see ARMY again after years apart. RM added that being together as a team, as 7 people, was what truly mattered most in that moment. That moment went viral around the world. Many called it one of the most emotional comebacks in K-pop history, not because of a lavish stage production, but because of the sincerity so clearly visible in how they handled a far-from-perfect situation. And it's not just what happened in Goyang. Long before that, in the early days of their career, BTS also experienced a memorable rain-soaked concert. At the time, the wet, slippery stage put their own safety at risk. But instead of focusing on the danger to themselves, V and Jimin appeared more concerned about the ARMY members who had to sit through the rain for long stretches of time. V even expressed worry that fans might catch a cold from sitting in the cold rain, while admitting he personally enjoyed being out in it. So when news of the extreme weather in Toronto started spreading, many longtime ARMYs immediately felt a sense of déjà vu. They know exactly how BTS, Jimin especially, typically responds to situations like this. Not by canceling the show for their own comfort, but by still trying to give their best to the people who had been waiting so long. When it comes to Jimin specifically, there's a reason his name always comes up in moments like this. Throughout his career, Jimin has been widely known as one of the BTS members who most openly expresses gratitude toward ARMY. Sometime before one of his solo promotions, Jimin was even seen showing his care directly to fans waiting outside a venue, a moment that later went viral and flooded social media with positive comments. Many fans actually turned the concern back on him, reminding Jimin to take care of his own health and safety first before worrying about others. A form of mutual affection rarely seen this strongly in any corner of the entertainment world. This reputation didn't come out of nowhere. From small gestures like handing out personal gifts to fans waiting outside music show recordings, to the way he responds to every question from ARMY during live streams with genuine warmth, Jimin has built an image of someone who truly values every second fans give him. That's why, when reports emerged that he, along with the other members, kept pushing to perform at their best despite the unfriendly weather conditions in Toronto, it didn't come as a surprise to ARMYs who have followed him for years. It felt like classic Jimin, consistent with a pattern they've seen play out again and again over the years. Try to picture it from the perspective of the ARMYs who were there in person that night. Thousands of people packed shoulder to shoulder, most without any real protection from the rain. Some carried cheap plastic ponchos bought hastily on the roadside. Others simply relied on a thick jacket that slowly became soaked through. But instead of disappointment, what grew stronger was the energy in the crowd. Voices singing in unison echoed through the pouring rain. Phone lights and light sticks stayed on bright, cutting through the curtain of water falling from the sky. Countless videos circulating on social media show the crowd laughing together, hugging each other, and cheering one another on to keep holding out. There's a kind of beautiful irony here. The weather that should have been an obstacle instead became a bonding force. Fans who didn't know each other before suddenly shared umbrellas, lent each other rain gear, and looked out for one another so no one got separated from their group in the massive crowd. And when BTS finally did take the stage, even though the rain hadn't fully stopped, screams of pure excitement erupted from every corner of the stadium. Many admitted to crying right then and there, not out of disappointment, but out of being overwhelmed with emotion. After years of waiting, after standing for hours in the rain, they were finally seeing their favorite members standing just a few dozen meters away. Moments like these quickly spread across social media platforms, sparking thousands of tweets, short clips, and comments from people who felt moved even just watching it unfold on their phone screens. If we think about it more deeply, a moment like this actually carries a much bigger meaning than just an idol performing despite the rain. It's about commitment. It's about how a relationship between a public figure and their fans can be built not just through hit songs or flawless choreography, but through small moments that reveal genuine sincerity. BTS, and Jimin in particular, have repeatedly shown that to them. ARMY isn't just an audience buying tickets. They're part of this group's long journey, from the hard days as trainees, through years of separation during military service, to finally standing together again on a world stage. When bad weather rolled in and they still chose to perform, even with real risks to their health and safety. The message that came through was crystal clear. ARMY's long wait would not be wasted just because of rain. This also explains why ARMY's loyalty to BTS has stayed so strong over the years. A fanbase like this isn't built overnight. It's built through thousands of small moments. A surprise birthday video call joined by other members, personal gifts for fans waiting outside a studio, and the decision to keep performing through a storm for the people who had been waiting since that afternoon. With the second Toronto show still ahead, many armies are hoping for friendlier weather. But whatever happens, one thing has already proven true time and again. BTS, and Jimin especially, won't let the weather stand in the way of the promise they've made to their fans. The Arirang World Tour itself will continue on to several more major cities around the world, as part of their full comeback journey after military service. Every city they visit brings its own story and its own emotional moments. And who knows, there may be more touching moments like this one still waiting to be told. For armies who haven't had the chance to attend in person, fancam clips from this Toronto concert keep surfacing across various platforms, bringing a little bit of that night's warmth to those watching from afar. So that's the story behind the touching moment of BTS, especially Jimin, still taking the stage in the pouring rain in Toronto, a moment that once again reminds us all why the relationship between BTS and ARMY is so special. It's not about a flawless stage, but about the sincerity they keep showing, rain or shine. If this video moved you too, don't forget to drop a comment about the most touching BTS moment you've ever seen. Also, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the latest updates on BTS's comeback journey around the world. Thanks for watching until the end. See you in the next video.